And we are back. Appreciate y'all tapping in with us on this lovely, lovely edition of the Doin Alright podcast. Bryan Broaddus, man, we got a game, Bryan. Man, look, man, I don't know how to feel about it. You know, if it was a game that happened last week, I'm going, oh boy, we get that debut that we've been looking for that.
Sure.
For that, Quentin Williams there. But we got to wait a week. Then Thursday and Sunday get here. We got to wait another day. We got old Monday Night Football, so we got a lot of time to ponder on it. Cowboys got a lot of time to kind of heal and get healthy and go over their game plans or whatever. But Bryan, if there's going to be a run, if there's going to be a sweep to the postseason for the Dallas Cowboys, if they're gonna run the table, it starts here. And boy, people may be saying, but boy, Voch, the Raiders are a terrible football team. Boy. Yeah. Sometimes the Cowboys can be too. You feel me? So we're gonna break down the Raiders, man. I'm gonna give y'all some proper context to Cowboys defense versus Raiders offense and kind of how they match up, and we'll go from there. Bryan Broaddus, you told me prior to the show kicking off there, was talking about Wanye Thomas. He's on the IR with the migraines. With the migraines, must be some damn bad migraines. I don't know much about him, but he's going on IR. Bryan. Ask you a question about ask you a question about these migraines. You think that the migraines are really what's keeping? I mean, I believe that he's hurt with migraines, right? But I'm curious about the IR move. The Cowboys got a lot of people that they're trying to bring back, and they need roster spots. Sure. You think that this is maybe a navigation move in the way of, hey, we got safeties coming back, and Wanye is a player that's on all the teams units. Right. But some of the guys that are coming back are probably going to be on those teams units as well. So maybe this is like a roster, manipulation tactic or something like that, because they're running out of these spots, Bryan. Is that something that kind of makes sense to your ear, or you think just these migraines are just that bad?
I think he's really struggling with them. Yeah, I really do. I think this is, it's something. He's a guy, and you mentioned about the special team stuff, and you're absolutely right, because they're going to get Wilson back and they're going to get Hooker back, and they're going to get these guys back practicing this week. So with that being said, you're going to think about, okay, you're going to have to play some roster gymnastics. But let's be honest, though, Voch. We can go through this team and find plenty of other spots to go play roster gymnastics with. Mm-hmm. There's players that probably need to be moved on from here. Sure. But coaches tend to like and fall in love, and that's one of the things this team is guilty. They're playing a team that falls in love with their players more than you do. The Raiders traditionally are a team that love their players more than anything, and they don't ever make moves. And the Cowboys are very similar to that right now. They fall in love with their players when actually you watch the team and how it's played, and they've been poor in some spots. There shouldn't be any of this, oh, geez, we can't move on from this guy or we can't move on from that guy. But I think the thing with Wanye Thomas is, I think Wanye Thomas is legitimately hurt and hurt with the migraines. And this might be something that they have to figure out, and they're going to have to. By putting him down, they're going to have to be able to do that. Sure. Does it buy them some time? Absolutely it does. Mm-hmm. But I think this is one of those things that's legitimate for him.
4 games, man. 4 games for a migraine. 4 games for a migraine is something else, Bryan Broaddus. But hey, man, we'll see. We wish Wanye a healthy recovery there. But Donovan Wilson is full practicing, and he has another day. Because of the Monday stuff there. And then we got...
And Hooker is too. Hooker as well. Yeah, Hooker's returning tomorrow as well, yeah.
Bryan, how much do you put into the first team safeties coming back? Because I tell you what, Bryan, it's easy to get sick of them. Yeah. But then when you see how your third team safeties go, which are undrafted guys, or then you see how some of your corners playing safety look, is it like welcoming to have these guys back after we was just fucking?
You know what? They're still bad up the middle. Or I use the word bad. They're poor. It really is poor. And and you're in a situation too where you're going to play a team that they like to attack like the seams of your defense. When you watch the Raiders, nobody throws the ball to their tight ends. Take that back, Voch. The Rams throw the ball to their tight ends more than the Raiders. Top 2 teams in the league when it comes to that, though. Safety play, linebacker play. How is that going to play out in this football game? If you're in a situation where all of a sudden you're Donovan Wilson or you're Hooker, Malik Hooker, and you're not covering these tight ends that you're dealing with, whether it's Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, those kinds of guys. If you're not playing well against these guys, you're going to give up some plays. And so to me, it's not like, wow, hey, these safeties are coming back. Yippee. They improved things in the middle of their defense with their defensive tackle. They've improved a little bit at linebacker, but the safety spot still is a very treacherous position right now for this football team.
Savon Revel, Logan Wilson, Marvin Overshown, Quinnen Williams.
Yeah.
I would imagine they all going to be playing for you. You know what I'm saying? Caleb Parsons going to be getting some too because he was active a couple weeks ago, Brian. I know the Raiders are a team that normal defenses could beat up on a little bit, right?
Sure.
Cowboys ain't a normal defense. Cowboys let you have what you want. This is the Cowboys defense where dreams come true, Brian.
Right.
But do you think with those 4 additions, with those names, that you could start to get back on track with your defense there?
Well, you got a couple of guys that haven't even played at all.
Sure.
I mean, Ravel hasn't played. I mean, in forever. It feels like, and then you look at Overshown. I mean, there is a lot being put on these guys. I mean, Quinnen Williams we've seen play, Logan Wilson we've seen play, but we haven't seen him play in this scheme. And I know we like to talk about Matt Eberflus. Is he going to make sure that these guys are in position to make plays? That's what coaches always like to tell you. They always like to give you the line of, wow, we're going to put our guys in position to make plays. Okay, we'll find a way to do that. Actually show up and find a way to get Quinnen Williams in position to make stops, to make sure that Logan Wilson gets stops. If you have to use Ravel in some coverage stuff, Carson in some stuff, find ways to do that right now. There's a lot of pressure on the guys that are about to play in this football game. This could go a couple different ways, Voch. This could be a situation where all of a sudden things go very, very well, and all of a sudden you're getting those 1 or 2 more stops that we've been asking for all year. Or it could be a thing where there's a lack of communication, there's a lack of not knowing where to be, there's a lack of, I'm not sure about this, and then all of a sudden you see the Raiders give up some big plays. The Raiders are not an explosive team that way, but just don't cover somebody like you've had the first 9 weeks of the season, first 10 weeks of the season, and see what happens to you.
This Raiders offense is horrible, Brian.
Yeah.
By all stretches of the imagination, bro. They just not good, man.
Yeah.
They just not good. They struggle to put points on the board.
They do.
Some games they only put 10 up there. You know what I mean? It'll take one of these common opponent rival games for them to get going. They had like one game where they really got the run game going, but they go right back to their regular ways. Ashton Jeanty is the name that you recognize out of that group, Brian, but he's averaging 3.8 yards a carry. Bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not like, because I've heard some people talk about, they need to give Jeanty the ball. Man, I hadn't seen games where Jeanty had like 20-something carries for 30-something yards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't looking good. Geno's been sacked 27 times.
Right.
12 interceptions. I think a lot of those come from pressure, Brian. I think the main reason of this Raiders offense looking so terrible, first of all, Chip Kelly-Rent was doing him a favor. I'm sticking by that. But they can't block anybody.
Sure.
They can't block anybody in neither department, whether it be the run or the pass game. You know what I'm saying? We can kind of go deep offense for a second, then we could double back to the offensive line there, Brian. But the offense is just discombobulated. But this is Cowboys defense.
Yeah.
In fact, discombobulated, Brian.
Yeah. Well, you look at Ashton Jeanty, and this is going to sound like, look at Broaddus. He's captain for, is it captain or what is it when you shill? What do you
glazing?
Whatever, yeah.
I hate the term, but that's what they say. Yeah.
But I was sitting there. Yeah, I'm the guy that loved Ashton Jeanty coming out of the draft.
Say caping.
That's I was
putting on the cape.
Capping. I was caping. Okay,
Capping is line.
Capping's line. I've learned that working with you too, though. So that to me is. So I'm caping for Ashton Jeanty here. 48% of the times, this guy gets hit at or behind the line of scrimmage. But how about this? There are those keys again. The thing with Ashton Jeanty is, though, he gets hit at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. But then you look at him, yards after contact, there's only 3 other running backs that have more yards after contact. Jonathan Taylor, having an MVP kind of year for the Indianapolis Colts. Bijan Robinson, another one of my guys that I'll cape for. I loved him coming out of Texas.
Yes, sir.
And then your guy, Javonte Williams. Those are the only 3 others that have more yards after contact than this guy.
So the Raiders aren't giving him any room, but
they are not giving. You're talking about handing him the football, but when you watch their like 10-yard runs, there's a couple of the 10-yard runs where it's like backfield contact, spin, another contact, run through a guy. That's the Raiders. You hit the nail on the head. Their offensive line isn't good enough.
Sure.
But if you go out there and arm tackle and just kind of throw yourself into him, he is going to bounce off you and make yards. And the Cowboys, we've talked about that. The Cowboys are more than capable of doing stuff like that. They're more capable of going out there and missing tackles or not being in position or doing those kinds of things.
As far as the offensive line goes, Brian, I took some notes on my little situation. As far as the offensive line goes, Brian, they're dealing with a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
They wasn't good to start with.
Sure.
But Colton Miller is a guy for them, not even playing.
Yeah.
Jackson Powers-Johnson that we liked at center.
Really banged up guy coming out of Oregon. Yeah.
He was injury guy. They made him play guard.
Right. He looks terrible.
He wasn't good at guard, but he's hurt also.
Yeah.
And then we got our other guy, Parham.
Yeah.
Parham's
Dylan Parham. Yeah.
He's a new injury guy, Brian.
Yeah.
So, man, you're going to get a mismatch of a bunch of foolishness up front.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys, man, if y'all can't take advantage of this one, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Brian, they got a character over there, DJ Glaze.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered a ton of bad offensive lines this year, just kind of doing that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, I think every time it's DJ Glaze's fault.
Yeah.
Every single time it's DJ Glaze's fault. Now, Brian, I want to be a little nicer to my Dallas Cowboys here, Brian, because you can see the pass rush starting to get a little better.
Yeah.
You starting to see Dominez Araku take advantage of some bad tackles. Jadeveon Clown doing this thing. I would love to see James Houston continue to grow there, Brian. But boy, I ain't even got their damn practice squad. Brian, they got a safety named Lonnie Johnson. If Lonnie Johnson went out there and played right tackle, I got to see it.
Yeah.
It ain't what you know, is what you can prove in court, Brian. And they're going to have to prove to me that they can get pressure on these guys. But the whole offensive line can be taken advantage of, but specifically the right tackle, DJ Glaze, I think he's the worst.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't go to the Will Putnam reference.
Look, Brian, I normally I got the list in front of.
Yeah, you didn't even have the Will Putnam reference ready to go on this one today? I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong about this. When you watch the pressures, the sacks, you can go up and down the line on this, and you're right about the injuries that they've dealt with. But it doesn't matter. It could be the center, Jordan Meredith. He could be a guy that all of a sudden that he struggles with a twist stunt. You mentioned Jackson Powers Johnson. Again, a guy that I know I liked. I can't speak for Voch there, but watching him play, the element of toughness that he had coming out of Oregon, but he was beat up, banged up. That's why he was a second round. There were some people talking about him of potentially a first round player. Ended up going in the second round there to the Raiders, but he is a guy that at guard looks badly out of place there. So they're trying to kind of mix and match some things. You mentioned DJ Glaze. There's Glaze again in our show today. Yes, how about that? Twice. Another Glaze twice. What are we doing here today? Yeah, pause. I did that yesterday on here. Gave you some pause yesterday. But the thing with Glaze is that, to me, he's a guy that the more that you watch the Commanders game, and watch those guys go after him, and watch the way that he struggled when it came to trying to even set his feet, get in front of guys, laid out of his snap. So him, Stone Forsythe on the other side has been a really a big problem for him as well. This is a group that gives up a lot of pressure. Their quarterback, though, is somewhat mobile. He'll try and get out of the pocket. Geno Smith has the capability of running at times. Geno Smith can light you up, too, when he starts to get on a little bit of a roll, but the problem is they just have not been consistent running the football, and they've given up a lot of pressures.
Yeah, that seems to be the case, Brian. And Jacoby Myers, their best receiver, they just moved on from him. They traded him at the deadline, Brian. So, man, it's like these cats really don't have the tools.
Well, yeah, they don't. But I will say this, though. Please. I will say this in defense of them. the tight end play is really, really good.
Bryan Broaddus is fantastic.
Yeah, that is going to be if they are going to get any kind of offense, it's going to be Ashton Jeanty bouncing off defenders, and it's going to be his ability to finish runs that way.
Trey Tucker maybe catching the pass.
Trey Tucker, yeah, and this is where the ball goes down the field and goes vertically. They don't throw the ball a lot of deep shots, but we know Geno Smith is capable of that. But you watch some games like again, I go back to the Commanders game, and I go back and I talk about that Trey Tucker. It's late in the game. They launch that thing, and he makes a really nice over-the-shoulder catch for a touchdown. I'll say this though about this football team, and you look at it, and it was something that came into the metrics when you look, but it doesn't really always translate. We always talk about the eye test. Well, here's an eye test for you. The Raiders are second in the league when it comes to route separation, yards per on separation of routes. They are tied for second in the league at 3.7 yards per route run with separation, and 27% of their routes are considered wide open. That's the problem now, if you're the Cowboys, though. You have a team that through the year has separated in routes, but they have not found a way to have the explosive. I mentioned it earlier. Only the Cleveland Browns have less explosive plays than these guys. But here we go again, the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys that will give up run yards. It's the Cowboys that will give up big plays. Something has to give in this football game. And hopefully it's the Dallas Cowboys, with all the additions that they've had or added to, can really find a way to get some stops in this game, because there are some things that the Raiders do. Again, throw the ball to the tight end, route separation, but they don't block very well and they don't run particularly well.
As far as the Cowboy personnel side, Brian, we talked about how down they are on the interior. We talking about the Raiders' interior now.
Yeah.
How kind of down they are. They're just not very good at all. You would say that the Cowboys' interior on defense is the super advantage in this one.
Yeah.
They don't have guards that'll put up a good fight with you.
Yeah.
Their center is the least red paint out of all of them.
Yeah.
Go find those guys. But you can go whip him too, Brian. You would say that if there's going to be a game where you finally whoop feet and get pass rush, it's probably going to be this one, because Quentin Osa Clark working versus those interior guys, that's going to be a lot of where the Cowboys' advantages come from.
Yeah, you've mentioned this before about how much five-man line are you going to play in this thing? How many guys are you going to? How are you going to handle Ashton Jeanty in this game? Are you going to play with the five-man line and then try and get all those defensive tackles on? I think you've made some excellent points in the last couple of weeks about that. Hey, how do you get all these defensive tackles? Everybody was thinking like, oh, well, hey, take this guy out, do that. No, I give you credit. You've said, hey, play this five-man line and see what happens. They've played a little bit. Even before Quentin Williams came on board, they had some five-man line stuff that they were trying to incorporate. Now that you've got this guy, your best pass rushers might be some of these defensive tackles, and the Raiders are not very good at offensive tackle, but then you could take advantage of, I think just across the board, you could take advantage. If you get in this game and all of a sudden we don't see pressures and we don't see sacks, now you need to really, really start to worry.
I kind of want to challenge the Cowboys to be creative in that way. I think when people normally think of pass rush, I think they normally they go straight to the edge position.
Sure.
I think the Cowboys are in a strange spot.
Yeah.
Where they interior, and this may not be as strange as I think it is, right? But their interior guys are so much more talented than their edge dudes. So even when we get in these pass setting downs, with these pass rushing downs, man, hey, lead them guys out there. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
I think Quentin would be ridiculous day one. I think Kenny Clark will be ridiculous day one. I think Osa's going to be exactly what he is. Yeah. But that ain't a terrible player. It's not a bad player. It's just that Osa probably be better because everything around him is probably going to be a little bit better. I had a thought driving over here, Brian. I kind of don't want Bland to be a guy that we expect to travel and be a top-tier guy.
Okay.
I kind of want Bland to go back to just being, hey, I'm one of the corners on the team. And I'm
sure.
You know what I mean?
You like him inside or outside better? And that's in both spots are kind of like where you're kind of trying to figure that out. Where is he best suited to play?
Man, I think matchup matters. I think he's better on the inside, but what I'm trying to avoid, it seemed like he was following Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Don't follow Marvin Harrison, man. Like, don't. Like, whenever I've seen Bland follow the number one receiver on the other team, it's kind of looked that way.
It's been a mismatch.
It's looked that way every time. We look. Think about the Seattle game a couple years ago. Whatever. We was chasing around DK Metcalf, and I was like, all right, man. We go find somebody else.
Right.
I think Deron Bland really shows his skills. Like, we love him when he's pick six guy.
Right.
I think he gets a lot of that just being invisible to a quarterback and just kind of blending in and just dealing with wide receiver twos. I think that's kind of why you need Diggs, or like at the time it was Gilmore, to deal with those wide receiver ones, right? So I don't know if it's going to be this game.
Yeah.
But boy, moving forward, I don't like Rashee Rice the week after, or AJ Brown or something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, I want Deron Bland to just kind of play his side. I don't want him to be a dude that we expect to travel, because I think is going to let us down at the end of the day, Brian.
Well, okay, then overall though, how do you see like with and listen, I'm cheerleading for Carson right now.
I'm hoping Carson and Rover got something for
Yeah, okay, but see, that's what I'm saying though. If I think if you get in, okay, where are you on Diggs right now then?
I got to pretend like he don't exist. And I think the Cowboys doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I think you have to pretend like Diggs don't exist because he's not coming to save you.
Yeah.
He's not coming to save you. If he hurt and he's truly hurt, then it is what it is. If he is not hurt.
Yeah.
But I think he is hurt, but just whatever. I don't care nothing about the story anymore, about the concussion or the news behind it. You either going to play corner or you're not.
Yeah.
As of now, you're not. So I'm not hanging around talking about I can't wait till Trayvon Diggs get back. I'm up here be like, hey man, can Bland, Revel, and
Carson play,
hold this thing down until the end of the season?
I think to me that I think you're onto something there. The things with Diggs, I was one of these guys that kind of believed that like, hey, Diggs is that you can't trade Diggs. You're going to need him. You're going to need him to play. But now I've kind of moved on to the point of like, you know what? With Carson, the way that he went out there and handled himself the other day in that game, I'm still going to give him a chance. I'm going to see what we got in Ravel here too. I'm absolutely looking forward to that. I mean, he hasn't played in well over a year. Had the setback in training camp, but he should be good to go. Should be full, ready to go. So hopefully some of these corners, step up to where you can get your wish, where all of a sudden you are playing with with these without Diggs, and then you can use Bland though as the guy that you envision him to use him as.
Overshawn get to be the superhero. You think that's gonna happen? You think that it's gonna go the way Jones thinks?
With the way that this Raider offensive line looks, and the way that Ashton Gente and actually the way that they've done some things with pass protection when it comes to the backs picking up. Yeah. Moster, these guys. I mean, you've got some running backs that don't particularly pick up blitzes very well here. So to me, what's the best thing you could do for Overshown in this game? Let him go downhill. Let him attack. Let him be the guy that's playing forward here. Let him go after this Raider offensive line. If there's ways you can incorporate him in some twist stunts, if there's a way you can kind of move him around, if there's a way that you could take advantage of him being on the field, maybe it's a situation where you figure out that you could get some coverage, with Wilson, and then now send that fifth rusher. I mean, it might be a thing too where you're looking at it as well and just saying, "Wow, I'm getting home with 4." But I'm going to play him downhill in this football game and see if he can attack the pocket, because I don't think their running backs block particularly well, and I don't think their offensive linemen sort out stunts very well either.
Brian, they don't sort out nothing very well. So
no, not at all. Not at all.
This is the one time where I think the Cowboys have a bit of an advantage in the trenches. Normally I'll come into these games going, hey man, Carolina, they're not great on offense, but they can do this. Cowboys terrible, they may whoop you. I think the Raiders are so bad.
Yeah.
I think that you'll match their badness and kind of beat them in it. Plus, I think the personnel that you get coming back, not just the guys in the front, you know what I'm saying, but like even the safeties coming back healthy, I think all that's going to help you know what I mean? So these past couple of weeks where people throwing the ball against Elijah Clark, you know what I'm saying? And, shouts out to Elijah Clark, man, but he's an undrafted rookie, and we may like him in camp, but that's different than playing in the game versus, versus somebody.
This game might be really good for the Cowboys as far as trying to kind of smooth out some issues that they might have with the new guys. I mean, and hopefully it's not one of these things. I mean, let's be honest, the the Raiders go and play at Denver, and they hold Denver to to nothing, really. I mean, you're just kind of, but they're having trouble scoring, and you want this to be a game defensively for the Cowboys that's clean as possible with the communications and stuff like that. But if this could be a game where you go out there and play well, you show like, okay, these are the combinations we're going to use. This is the way we're going to attack. We're going to play more like this and give you some ideas. I think that's a great opportunity for somebody like this. Like I say, the Raiders are a perfect game for that because of the struggles that you mentioned on the offense. I mean, if you were doing 5 new starters or 4 new starters against the Philadelphia Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs, it might be a different thing. Sure. But at least this gives you an opportunity to kind of put some things together.
You have at least a little bit of a margin for error in this game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't hate that at all. But, hey, we're going to come back and break it all down for y'all tomorrow. We're going to take a look at the Raiders' defense. I mean, they kind of just as bad, but they got old Max over there. They got old Max over there.
Max.
Y'all know we love Max. We're going to break that down tomorrow. So I appreciate y'all. I need y'all to be here tomorrow, and we'll break that thing down. Go to our website, crownglobalmedia.com. That's where everything is. If you're looking for something, it is there, whether it be the merch, the audio. If you're a truck driver or something, you want to listen to just the audio and not see our faces, then all those links are on the website for you. Stuff on my page, all of our socials. That's Bryan Broaddus. I'm VochLombardi, Voch Lombardi there, and we'll catch y'all tomorrow to break down the Raiders defense. All right, Crown.